Nowadays, it's almost a cardinal sin to be just mediocre or middle of the road. People would much rather take bad or horrible than just mediocre or mid. And I think the perfect example of that is Power Rangers Ninja Steel and Super Ninja Steel. Before going into this, and even still to this day, this isn't a season I hear talked about that much amongst the fan base. And even with one of the seasons being a 25th anniversary season, with the 25th anniversary special attached to it, I don't really hear people talk about Super Ninja Steel or Dimensions in Danger. And when they do, it's usually in reference to the introduction of the Master Morpher with Tommy, where he's able to access 4 of his past Ranger abilities. And just like most seasons that are anniversary season, it still tells its own story with the exception of Super Mega Force. It's similar to Operation Overdrive or Wild Force, which both tell their own stories but have an anniversary special attached to it. And it's not like Ninja Steel or Super Ninja Steel doesn't have the elements of being a good season. The story is decent. You can tell the actors and actresses working on the show were at least trying. But it's just something about the final execution that just doesn't work. It doesn't help that the villains are also not that memorable. Galvanax is definitely forgettable, and Madame Odious is somewhat memorable. But then she starts to fall into the same problem Galvanax does later on in Super Ninja Steel. And it's not like they didn't have enjoyable characters. Again, it's just something about the final execution that just doesn't work. I understand Power Rangers is meant to be a kid's show, but I think the problem here is, and especially with just the whole Neo Saban era as a whole, that Saban feels like he is still stuck in the 90s. He's trying to make a 90s kids TV show in today's world, and that being in 2017, 2018. And you really can't do that. Now, I'm not saying kids back in the 90s and 2000s didn't have complex TV shows or kid shows. There absolutely were. When you have something like Ninja Steel and Super Ninja Steel competing on the same levels of, say, like an Adventure Time, regular show, or even Steven Universe, the writing compared to this show to, say, any other Power Ranger scene in the Neo Saban era, both were aimed for kids, but you could tell one was more for a complex audience. And the other seemed like it was aimed for littler kids. Granted, Power Rangers is a series that's meant to be consumed by the demographic preteens. And when people do bring up Ninja Steel or Super Ninja Steel, it's always the same thing. It's boring. There's nothing really about that season to make itself stick out. Like I said, the story and elements were there. It's just the execution was off. As we get closer to the end of the franchise, onto the next 2 seasons of Power Rangers Beast Morphers.